Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and this is a part 2 of our N8N automation series. Let's see what we have covered so far. In part 1, we installed and ran N8N locally using npm, and if you haven't watched that video yet, I strongly recommend starting there. So, in this video, we are going to build our very first N8N workflow and understand how workflows actually work behind the scenes. So, it is like an introduction what we are trying to do on our very first workflow. Okay. So, by the end of this video, you will understand what a workflow is, what triggers are, how nodes work, how data flows between nodes, and how to execute and debug a workflow. So we don't need to worry. I try to be very simple and beginner friendly, so everyone can understand it clearly. So as we know that this is our panel, and we open our local host thing, and we are going to create a workflow. So before starting creating a workflow, let's understand what a workflow is. So here the question here is, what is a workflow? So in N8N, a workflow is simply a sequence of steps called nodes that run in a specific order. So let me repeat, a workflow is simply a sequence of steps called nodes that run in a specific order. So each workflow, so if we talk about each workflow starts with a trigger, then process the data using nodes and optionally sends data somewhere else. Think of it like a pipeline. So if you have built a pipeline, it starts with a trigger, something gets triggering it, like a change in the code base. It triggers the pipeline. Then certain like building is happening, and finally we get some output. So that is called a workflow. So in a summary, a workflow is simply a sequence of steps called nodes. So steps, what we are calling, they are actually nodes in the workflow of N8N, and that runs in a specific predefined order. So let's try to design a very simple workflow. So before we start, we are going to create the workflow from scratch. As you can see my screen, this is the very first screen that you would be seeing. This is the very first screen that you would be seeing, and in this screen there is a button called add first step. So in this first step we are going to add the nodes, or using this plus button also we can add the nodes panel and then search for the nodes and add the appropriate node what is required. So the very first node, if we talk about, every workflow needs a trigger. So the very first node, if we talk about something that starts the flow, is called like a trigger. So in the N8N, there is a node called manual trigger. So using that, we would be starting our workflow, steps actually. So let's click on this plus button and we click on trigger manually. So once we click on trigger manually, this is the manual node that is assigned to the assigned to the canvas that we are seeing here. So till now, what we have seen, we have seen what is workflow, and in this workflow, we have added a node. This is a node, and this node is called a manual trigger. Okay, so what is a manual trigger here is, so manual trigger is mainly used for learning and testing purposes. So manual trigger, if we talk about, that is used for learning and testing purposes. Later, we will use webhooks, schedules, and app-based triggers according to the requirement. But for now, this manual trigger is could be the best case. So then we add the very first node. So let's add our first node. So before adding the first node, we click on the plus icon, and so this click if we click on the plus icon, so we add a node called the set node. Let's search for the word set. So this is the set node, which is called edit fields or set. We can modify, add or remove fields. So we just click on this field, and it opens a panel or a node editor panel that in which we can edit our key value pairs. Okay, so what is the purpose of set node or the edit fields node? So it allows you to create or modify data. It allows you to create or modify data. So it's extremely useful when we are learning how data flows in at N8N. Inside the set node, I will enable keep only set and add new fields. So we are doing manual mapping. So the mode is manual mapping. Okay. So let's add certain fields. Let's add a field called name, and its value is my name Manas. Let's add another field. All these are string. This is role. This is what I am in professional AWS DevOps engineer. And last field is tool, which is N8N. So we are using three fields, and after editing the data, what we can do, we can close this thing, and once you close it, it will save by default. So by default, once you close any node editor, it will save by default. So you can see these two nodes are connected. So what it means, the output of this node will act as the input for the edit fields node. Okay. So in N8N, data flows from left to right. So data will flow from left and to the right. So let's execute the workflow. To execute the workflow, we click on this red color button called execute workflow, and let's see what it is doing. So once we click on the execute workflow, the nodes of the manual trigger has the green tick, as well as the edit fields has the green tick. Okay, let's open the edit fields button. If we open the edit fields button, left portion, this is the left portion what you are seeing. This is the left portion what you are seeing is the input area, and the right portion is the output area. What I mean to say here is that for any node in the editor, input is on the left hand side and output is on the right hand side. And if you go to the output section, this is the output of my node, and it could be in the tabular, or you can see the schema, or you can also have the JSON format. So these are the three formats which are available, and output is what get passed to the next node in a real workflow. So when we talk about in a real workflow, output data you can change it according to the format that you like to have, but JSON is the preferred format. So this output is what gets passed into the next node is a real workflow. In a real workflow, this is how we debug and understand what's happening inside the N8N. Okay. So let's see, let's go back to the things, and we can see the executions history for that particular thing. So this is the execution history. So if we click on the executions tab, and here we can see what are how many executions we have here. And once the workflow ran, whether it is succeeded or failed, and execution details, this becomes extremely important when you run the workflows in production. So this is the thing that we are seeing. So what a mistake we can have. So if we forget to execute the workflow, we can't see any executions. No checking node output. If we were not checking the node output, we might miss this thing. Overwriting the data accidentally, this could be the major data issue if you does not take care appropriately. And not saving the workflow is another thing that you should keep in mind. So before we finish, we should save our save our work, and that's how we should look forward to working with the N8N. So in the my workflow section, so we can save this workflow as the work that we have designed for the for this video. And it is a simple workflow. So let's name this workflow as N8N workflow 1. Okay, so let's move forward with a small summary. So once we what we have seen till now. So in this video, we created our very first N8N workflow. We used a manual trigger, and we added edit fields or the set node. Then we execute the workflow, and finally we inspected the outputs. So this is the small introductory workflow video where we try to see um, how the workflow is designed. And in the next video, we would be seeing how we can configure more realistic workflows like webhooks and HTTP request nodes and real APIs. So let's keep it for that part 3. And for now, this is our for now this is our that the introductory part of the video. And in the next, what we are going to see in the next video, we are going to see certain things that I have said, like the HTTP request nodes or the webhooks or the real APIs. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Let's move to the part 3.